Hello there, welcome to episode 14 of Never Mind the Bullens. My name's Mike Peters. This is your bite-sized Everton podcast and now vodcast as well. And you'll need to see the vodcast because the background behind me, I think, neatly represents not only the weather in Liverpool today, because it's absolutely gorgeous, but also the mood around Goodison. Everything is blue skies and sunshine. Another win. 3 wins to start the season, and we'll get on to talking about the West Brom game in just a second. But before I do that, 2 things. First of all, I've got to say hello to Terry Abbott, who's been in touch via Twitter at NMTB Pod, is how you can get us on there. And you'll see that on the bottom of the screen if you're watching the vodcast. And also, I must correct something that I said in episode 13, which my brother helpfully picked up. So thanks, Simon, for that one. That I mentioned 2 West Brom fans that I will be playing cricket with tomorrow. Now, I am playing cricket tomorrow, and I am playing with some West Brom fans, but only one of them, of the brothers that I mentioned, Joe and Dom, are actually West Brom supporters. Because Dom is a Blues fan, Birmingham City, so I must correct that because that's a terrible affront. I'm really sorry, Dom. But Joe is actually not only is a West Brom fan, but he's a West Brom journalist for the Birmingham Evening Mail. So we'll have plenty to discuss tomorrow after that game. And what a crazy game of football that was. Great game if you're a neutral as well, because plenty to watch there. 7 goals, 2 red cards. And some fantastically entertaining football from both sides. I mean, West Brom first half played really, really well, and Carlo Ancelotti acknowledged that after the game, saying that he wasn't happy with the way that Everton played in the first half, but we certainly made up for that in the second. And the game turned in that 5 minutes just before half-time with James Rodriguez's lovely goal. Must give credit to Andre Gomez for his part in the build-up to that, just creating a little screen. If you watch the replay on Match of the Day, then you will see he just screens to create a little bit of space for Richarlison to pass the ball into James, and that wonderful left foot did the rest. He passed the ball beautifully today, as did most of the players, to be fair. The passing is crisp, it's quick, we're incisive, we're playing great lines. His ball over the top for Luca Dean for Richarlison, I should say, to put the ball in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin for one of the goals in the second half was terrific. For the one off his back, and he did score a back trick today, because back heel, back header, and just off his back. So there you go. But just that range of passing was terrific, but not a perfect performance. And I think actually it's positive that we conceded a couple of goals, particularly the first one, because that was sloppy. That was a sloppy goal, and Yerry Mina not at his best today. That was almost a typical kind of Yerry Mina performance, in the sense where one week he can be brilliant, and then the next week he can be really off his game. And he's certainly at fault for the first goal for not coming out to try and close down Dean Garner to allow some of the midfielders to get back, because we were overloaded a bit. Alan had got himself in a slightly wrong position. He got himself a few yards ahead of the play, but I'm not going to criticise Alan because he's been otherwise immaculate in the first 2 games. But he has to come out to that and doesn't. I think Jordan Pickford got some criticism for the first goal. I don't see how, because it was a cracking shot from Dean Garner. Is there arguably criticism for Jordan Pickford for the second goal? Should he be getting caught 30 yards, not getting across to that ball? Don't get me wrong, great free kick from Pereira. It is in the corner. It's good bend on it, good pace on the ball as well, but I do wonder whether he'd have got caught. Having said that, should it have ever got to him? Because Yerry Mina doesn't jump. Now, realistically, he's not going to p-roll the ball under the wall from 30 yards, is he? He's going to go over the top. It actually skims, if you watch the replay, it skimmed off Yerry Mina's head. So it's like, well, why didn't you jump? You're 6'7", jump a little bit, and that probably would have gone over the top for a corner, or it could have blocked it and moved forward, and the chance. But they don't get the chance. They don't score that goal. Ultimately, it's proved academic, and I think, to be fair, even the red card for Kieran Gibbs, and it was a red card because James has given him a little nudge. I don't think it actually impacted the game. I think we had more than enough quality to win. We just started a bit slowly, although we could have scored goals early on. Dom gets a chance in the first few minutes, doesn't take it. We did have chances early on before we actually scored, and nice to see VAR going for us for a change. But second half, we played some really, really terrific stuff, and it's great to see that Carlo's keeping players' feet on the ground in terms of saying that he wasn't happy with the first half performance and that we need to. There is work to do, but obviously, lots of people very effusive in their praise, and we are, at the time of recording anyway, top of the league. We might not be by the time you watch this, but hey ho, that's the way it is. Just speaking of Carlo, and I just want to read a little extract from his programme notes. I could do the impression. I think we needed this performance at Tottenham at the beginning of the season to encourage the players to believe in their abilities. He's right. There's no doubt about that, and you can see the belief streaming through, and it's really in evidence actually in Seamus Coleman's programme notes for today. So if you get a chance to have a read of them, please do, because he's so positive, much more positive than I think he's been at any point really. He's been sort of like the rest of us at the back end of last season, very kind of, or over the course of the last 12 months, a bit sort of, just kind of, it's not, things were not rosy in the garden. But one sentence I'll pick out. He said afterwards, after the Tottenham game, that it was more than just a win for me. It was a massive statement that last season has gone and that we are ready for the challenges that lie ahead. Nobody here is getting carried away. And I think there's no doubt on the evidence of the first three games that we are ready for the challenges ahead. Carlo's very happy with the squad. Talked about the ability to rotate it for the game against Salford during the week. And he was happy with the players that contributed to that game as well. And just that we have got a bit of strength in depth. We've got players that can change the game. Really impressed with Gylfi Sigurdsson when he came on today in terms of his passing. I mean, I know he was coming on with a 5-2 up. I get that. But in terms of his contribution, he made more of a contribution playing out on that right-hand side than he has done, certainly when he's going through the middle. And having the likes of Decore and Allen alongside him, makes a massive difference. Great to see Richarlison, 3 assists for him today, and also wonderful passing from James Rodriguez, and it's just great to see those players really, really linking up. I do want to see a little bit more from Andre Gomez, but at the minute, the other players are sort of picking up not these necessarily his slack, but in terms of they are really stepping up and going well above and beyond. So just a couple of stats, courtesy of EFC Stato for today. We've scored 6 goals in our first 2 league games, and that is the first time we have done that since 1965-66. And we've won our first 2 league games of the season for the first time since David Moyes' last campaign in charge, 2012-2013, which of course started with that brilliant win against Manchester United where Marouane Fellaini terrorised the United defence that evening at Goodison, and very warm August evening it was. Things looking really positive, but we've started well. The key thing for Everton is not to let this sort of be a false dawn. I know that lots of people, obviously Owen Hargreaves and Joe Cole, if you watch the coverage, sort of said that they're really looking forward to seeing Everton this season. I think there's a lot of people saying that because we're going to be great to watch. There's no doubt about it with the quality players that we've got in the squad. But we've got to make sure that we continue this now. Fleetwood away on Wednesday night in the League Cup, and then away next week against Crystal Palace. I want to pick up on one thing, because obviously a recurring theme that I've discussed is sort of lack of research by pundits. And Martin Keown, I know he's an ex-Everton player, but goodness me, he ain't half rubbish at times. I was very close to muting the telly completely today. But he did say about that Richarlison, it was a particularly peculiar comment, Richarlison's got a point to prove. I'm thinking, has he? Because I'm thinking he scored 13 goals in each of the last 2 seasons, been joint top scorer. Does he have a point to prove? Other than maybe to himself, because he's thinking, I really want to get more goals. Now, we all want to see him score more goals, but I think he's proved what a good player he is. You want to see him progress. And there's a difference to me between progression as a player and having a point to prove because you've been poor. If you say you've got a point to prove, that means you've performed poorly. And I don't think he has. Anyway, that's Martin Keown for you. So he has a tendency to mangle the English language. So maybe he meant something else. He did use the term today, a point in case, rather than a case in point. So, that says everything, doesn't it, really? Anyway, that is it for episode 14. If you want to get in touch, at NMTB Pod. on Twitter, or nmtbpod@gmail.com. If you want to send me a video message or voice message, you'll see that in the link on the podcast. You can send me those, and I'll be back with you after the Fleetwood game on Wednesday night, or more likely Thursday. Until then, come on, you Blues.